administration announced a number of tariffs against China were going to be delayed. Now, this includes electronics, which is a big part of what we bring in, like cell phones, laptops, and even some kind of clothing. Those will not face tariffs until December 15th. Merry Christmas. Instead of the September 1st date Trump initially announced. Now, this is expected to help protect a number of those holiday shopping goods from higher cost. So to learn more, we turn to Steve Gill, former official in the U.S. Trade Representative's office. Steve, a lot of talk about Asia in our news today. In this case, we're bringing you in to talk about trade because the Treasury Department has just pulled out a report which says the U.S. has collected $59 billion in tariffs this year from China. This is 75% up since 2018. Earnings are coming out this week. I think Walmart is reporting today. What is the impact of this trade war with China on U.S. businesses 1 year later?
Well, I think what you're seeing is this result of collecting taxes or tariffs is being used in some cases to supplement what farmers are losing because of the lack of trade with China. But I think everybody would rather be doing deals, would rather be doing business rather than charging taxes on each other in this trade war. But people need to remember that the U.S. is simply putting tariffs or taxes on Chinese goods that have long been imposed on our own goods, on our own products going into China. We've been paying 10, 15, 25%. 50% taxes for our goods to get into China as they've tried to keep us out. We've simply applied the same burden on them, and that's what's caused all the squawking and screaming.
Well, and that's the thing. Is it working, though? Do you feel like we are any closer to a deal right now? And obviously, the market rose today as a reaction when it was announced these few items were being taken off the tariff list. So why would the market react this way if it was not having an impact of this war on the United States economy?
Well, I think some people are hopeful that this delay, following up a phone conversation that President Trump apparently had with the Chinese officials, that it's some glimmer of hope that a deal may still be reached and that the market may be reacting in kind of this hopeful way. I don't think we're any more closer to a deal than we were 24 hours ago. But if there is a conversation that can get renewed, if President Trump and President Xi can start talking again and start moving away from the heated rhetoric, from the heated actions that have been going on, then maybe there is a shot that we can get closer to a deal, if not by year end, maybe into the first of the year. But I think right now what you're seeing the market respond to is that glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, there may be the ability to get back on track to at least trying to negotiate a deal.
Well, and I'm even thinking the glimmer of hope that this new Xbox I'm probably going to have to look at for Christmas presents are not going to cost any more than it already does. Because I find it interesting, electronics and phones, two of the biggest gifts that we give that you find Santa Claus putting under the tree. That being said,
yeah, but Walmart's going to restrict all those good games that we're not going to be able to buy because Walmart's trying to ratchet down the violence.
See, so it's going to keep going. I mean, we're in a hamster wheel right here. But that being said, a lot of people, though, you're finding in a lot of these websites as well as on the news are crying once again that we're headed towards a recession next year. We'll talk about a hamster wheel. And how much of it is going, and how much of it do you think, if that is true, they're blaming it on this trade war? But I think there are some other factors that are being imposed here domestically that also add to it. Do you agree that once again we're headed towards another recession, or is that just fear-mongering at its best?
I don't think we're headed to another recession. I think you're seeing a slowing in the economy as the tax cuts that were passed that kind of boosted the economy a bit. You've seen the impact of regulatory reform that have caused corporations to be able to engage in business on an easier way with less government interference in blocking them from doing business in a reasonable way. What's really blocking things right now, though, is you've got the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, the NAFTA 2.0, that is being held up not because President Trump doesn't want it, not because Canada doesn't want it, not because Mexico, our largest trading partner now, doesn't want it. It's because the Democrats in the House, led by Nancy Pelosi, don't want to give a boost to the economy to kind of move things a little bit further ahead by opening more progress between the trade flow of goods in Mexico, the U.S., and Canada. If we want to see a little bump to the economy and to avoid the prospects of a recession, then Congress needs to approve the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement.
Well, and that's one part of it. And I agree with you. There's definitely something that needs to be put through. But you know what? All of Congress right now are like on vacation, sitting on a beach somewhere. So they're not going to do anything at this exact moment. What about the interest rates? You know, obviously we've raised interest rate basically since President Trump went into office. We've seen a continual rise in that. What type of effect is that having on consumers actually purchasing, especially high dollar items like cars and houses?
You know, the interest rates are still remarkably low, and you've got some European countries that are virtually at 0% interest at this point because they've lowered their interest rates to try and avoid any kind of an economic downturn in Europe. I don't think that the interest rates are stalling the economy as much as the uncertainty, as much of the concerns of what's going on in the Middle East, the potential increase in the cost of gas and fuel because of what's going on there. When you've got the Brexit controversy, the potential that the European Union could see a serious slowdown. All of those things have an impact on the global economy, and we're not immune from that in the United States. So what's happening in Asia, what's happening in Europe, what's happening in the Middle East, all are putting a damper on our economy, despite the fact that the more people are working than ever before. You've got lower tax rates than we had before. You're seeing economic progress at the local level, but those storm clouds on the horizon are causing people to be a little bit nervous, a little bit fearful, and that causes people to kind of pull back in.
Well, it will be interesting if we can bring some sort of stability. And you know what? Best way to bring stability? Make Congress not be on vacation. Make them come back and do their job. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us.
Thanks, Scotty.
We're